Hello and welcome to the OK Takes podcast. I am Matt Weiner, and as always, I'm joined by my fellow capo, Edward Vento. As of 4:42 p.m. West Coast time, let's all take a second, breathe a little. The Dodgers are still one of the hottest teams in baseball. They lost today, snapped a 9-game win streak, but they've won 13 of their last 15 games. They've been playing phenomenal. Today was a notch below disastrous, and in order to get all the negative energy out, we're going to be using Nomar for our punching bag to begin episode 18. So let's begin with Nomar sucks. I feel like this segment is very fitting because we need somebody to just punch in the face. It's healthy to use other people as your punching bag. No therapist ever said it wasn't. All right, so what has been your biggest impression with having Nomar fill in? And so I forgot to mention. So the reason Nomar's filling in is because Orel tweeted out that Dana's son is getting married this week, and he's off until Tuesday, so he's gonna be back for the San Diego series on the next series.
Yeah. So my first impression is, I hope Orel Hershiser never misses another game because he's just so much better than Nomar. Like there's no way to beat around the bush on this one. Like, I'm not going to try to be cute with or anything. He's just better than Nomar is. Nomar just doesn't provide anything special at all.
Mm-hmm. Nomar calls games like he's trying to mansplain baseball to his girlfriend, and he could get away with every empty cliche one after another because his girlfriend doesn't have enough knowledge to call him out and be like, what the fuck are you saying? You sound like an idiot.
Yeah, he's bad. I think it makes Orel look a lot better. And Joe Davis, I don't know if he notices it or not, that Nomar's not the best in the world. If he does know it, then he does a good job of pretending like he doesn't know it and kind of just, going along with what he says.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, Joe Davis is putting on the act like he needs the acting job of the century. He needs a Grammy because he's next to a cliche machine that just happens to have bones, blood, and flesh.
Yeah, it's bad.
So I have one specific, there's a million to choose from, like whatever, like your dad who has like a nebulous knowledge of baseball, or any relative who has a nebulous knowledge of baseball would say when watching a game. That's what Nomar says. So the one specific one I had that I was just absolutely appalled at, and it happened Wednesday, and I'm still appalled, was during Mitch White's start. So it was the third or fourth inning, and Mitch White was able to get a walk. He was facing JT Brubaker, and he walked him. And Nomar's comment was, sometimes you get up to bat, roll your sleeves up, show off your guns, and intimidate the pitcher and draw a walk. And then Joe followed up with, Allah deserves a Grammy, to scare him right out of the strike zone. And then Nomar replied with, that's exactly what he did.
No shit, Sherlock.
I'm not even going to say a no shit Sherlock, because first off, JT Brubaker blows. He sucks. He's been awful. He has a 5.5 ERA. And second, who the fuck is intimidated by a pitcher? And third, have you seen the pins on Mitch White? It's nothing to be wooed. There's nothing intimidating.
It's like SpongeBob when he's lifting the weights with the teddy bears on the end. That's what I think of when I think of Mitch White.
When I think of Mitch White, I think of core strength. You know what? I don't want to go as far as, because I feel like I'm not in any position to criticize an athlete's body, but I would just say Mitch White strikes me as a guy who likes Pilates, likes yoga, and focuses on core strength and balance.
That's a good point. Yeah, it probably does.
But the biggest thing with Nomar is that he could get away with saying stupid shit because he hit 313 in his career and fucking raked.
Yeah, he's grandfathered in as just a baseball personality.
Oh, remember have you ever seen the Saturday Night Live skit where it's like Will Ferrell, and they're calling football games, and every 10 seconds he just says he's moving the chains?
No, I've not seen that.
And then it's like, just to make fun of broadcasters' cliches, like one of the lines is, I think whoever scores the most points is going to win today.
Yeah, you don't say.
Yeah. So now let's talk some Mitch White. What impressed you the most?
I mean, man, the length he was able to go. I mean, usually when we do this Mitch White experience where there's an opener and then he comes in, he's typically only going 2-3 innings at a time. But man, for him to be able to give us 7 1/3 innings to where a bullpen game was only needed 2 pitchers, like that was incredible. That was an incredible performance.
Mm-hmm. And so quick little stat from at MLB Stats on Twitter, but first reliever to go 7 1/3 scoreless since Ed Roebuck on June 24th, 1960. So this was like actually historic.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Then we have to realize this is against the Pirates, and dominating them is like saying you lost your virginity to a prostitute.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing when like I was bringing myself back down to earth because I was like, oh my goodness, Mitch White is the next Walker Buehler. But then I was like, he's playing the Pirates. Like maybe let's relax.
Besides Brian Reynolds, you could sleepwalk.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal. He's an awesome player, having a great year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all-star, nobody else.
No one, yeah.
No one else. And then so a day later he gets sent down. So we're in a very interesting predicament right now because do we use Mitch White as our main innings eater guy? Do we use David Price? Or do we move Mitch White to the bullpen because we saw what the fuck happened with Shane Green? That was unbearable today in the top of the 9th. Smell you later. And then we also have Evan Phillips, who's been really bad as well. So it's like, I think I'd rather, if I have to watch somebody suck between those guys, I would rather watch Mitch White. And if I want to see somebody succeed out of those guys, I want to see Mitch White. So where do you fall on this like weird innings eater / bullpen / like, is David Price going to fill that role? It's very confusing for me.
It is. And I kind of want to see Mitch White get another go as a starter. I think we've tested him out. We've actually had him start games before. I can't think of any stats off the top of my head, but after that 7 1/3 scoreless, I would love to see him, especially with our injuries with Kershaw out. And I know Urias is supposed to come back, but I would like to see him back in the starter role. And I would like to see Andre Jackson back up and see if he can eat some more innings for us. And if that doesn't work, then I guess Mitch White will have to move into the bullpen and be like a long reliever.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm so confused on, is that like, is Mitch White only good if he goes like 2 or more innings, or is he somebody you could stick in the 6th? So I have really no idea because now I'm sold on him being a starter. But now, like after the first inning today, David Price gave up 3 earned runs, but then was really solid after that. So I don't know if it's actually like acute. Like, I mean, it's preseason for NFL right now, so it's like, is this whose job is it to lose? Is this David Price's job to lose? Is the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I think it is still David Price's job to lose. I think the best case with Mitch White is that he kind of becomes a Ross Stripling type player where he's in the bullpen as a long reliever. But if, like I said, God forbid we have an injury and we need a guy to pull a guy from the bullpen that can give us length, he's that kind of guy. So I think David Price is probably firmly in the rotation until the postseason, but maybe Mitch White can take that spot.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting. It's very interesting because especially like in kind of ending this thought or like ending this segment of like innings eater talk, David Price kind of ran into a team that was just destined to start hitting with runners in scoring position. Like coming into this, or in the Mets last 10 games, they were hitting 9 for 72 with runners in scoring position. If they didn't do anything in that first inning, they might have killed Frank the Tank.
I was going to say Steve Cohen might have gotten banned from Twitter if they didn't do anything in that first inning.
He would have got deplatformed before the Taliban.
Yeah, definitely.
But it was just bound to happen. And there was kind of dinking and dunking. Like besides the double from Baez, there was a couple just like nice but kind of bloopy singles. And then the Dodgers screwed up a couple balls against Stroman that were caught. Like Muncy had a really nice rocket. Trey had a nice rocket. And that's just where the chips fell.
Yeah, it was just one of those games that from the jump, it was like, okay, this is where our streak's going to end. Even after Cody's 2-run single, I still wasn't convinced. I was like, we had a nice run, a nice 9-game win streak. We made up, I think, a game and a half or 2 games on the Giants. and we were due for a loss. And yeah, the Mets were just, I mean, talk about a team that's due. Hopefully they go on a stretch here and maybe take 2 out of 3 against the Giants and help us out. Maybe we woke them up.
Mhm. This is, I hate to do it, but what the fuck was going on between Pollock and Bellinger? Because that was like, I don't want to be super mad about snapping the win streak because I feel spoiled getting mad that we didn't win 10 in a row. But I think it's worthy of discussing what the fuck happened. I mean, I think I had a similar reaction to everybody of like, whose fault was that? We just need see, and even like as a society, we always need to know who can I blame for this. It doesn't fix anything, but who can I direct my anger to? And I'm talking about the first and third steal.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really weird play. Like I don't know if that was getting signs mixed up or what the deal was there, but I just don't understand. Maybe I'm thinking of the play wrong, but I don't understand why Bellinger didn't just commit to the steal. Like, I don't understand why he pulled up. Was
Oh,
he
okay.
out by a mile?
No, so what he was trying to do was you draw the throw. So runner on first steals, and I believe so it was 2 outs, and Bellinger was very high praises because he just knocked in 2 runs with bases loaded single. So now we have first and third, and Belly is stealing to get to draw the throw. So then Pollock. So the strategy is for Pollock to come in, and the shortstop is so distracted by the runner stealing second that he forgets about the other runner, and that's what he's supposed to do. So Cody's an agent of chaos, so Pollock could come in for the run, and you sacrifice yourself, but you're hoping to squeeze a run out of it.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, though. Belly kind of had 1 foot in, 1 foot out, or excuse me, not Belly. Pollock had like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So I don't know who messed up the sign. That's where we're at. That's the same about the blame thing. Do we blame Belly for him mistaking the sign, going on his own? Pollock didn't know, or Pollock should be blamed because Belly did his job and he hung him out to dry because he didn't commit to going home.
Yeah, I guess, the only people that know that are the ones that give the signs. So I guess we won't know until maybe in a post-game interview when David Vesia asks them about it. But, from my point of view, it seemed kind of like Bellinger was in the wrong there, but what do I know? I'm just watching from my couch.
We're always allowed to know. We have to know. Our opinion is the knowing.
Because I don't know, like I feel like in a situation like that, if one guy doesn't go, odds are they were not told to go. I think Bellinger was kind of just doing his own thing out there.
I hope not. Because he might have been doing his own thing, but that just killed. That was such an important, mojo moment. We have another, we're going to touch on another mojo moment, but that was a good example of a mojo moment that just flipped things. Because then you have Billy McKinney pinch hitting for Price, which then takes Price out of the game. And it was just a shit show when Price, I think, could have gone another inning. But that's that. Now it's time to move on to some bullpen praise because, excluding today, that's a problem with ending like a series on a loss because you're like, well, what was the point of any of this? We're still back to square one, which is not true. And even like Sunday afternoon game losses suck because now you have to sleep with, like, you already have the the Sunday scaries, and now you throw a loss on top of that. Tough scene all around.
Yeah. And like you said, I think on the top of the show, we don't want to overreact to this game because we have won 13 out of 15 and the bullpen has been incredible lately, but it's always disappointing when what you think is one of the best parts of your team just comes out and lays an egg and they can't be perfect every night, but yeah, like you said, just kind of a disappointing end to the series and disappointing way to end a Sunday.
Yeah. So, I want to focus on praise now. That's just where we're at. We got all the negative shit from today out. That's the last time we were talking about today. Took a dump, flushed it down the toilet, wiped our ass, flushed it down the toilet.
Flush it down the toilet, then wipe your ass.
Yeah. Actually, it's considered a faux pas in some countries if you leave the shit-ridden toilet paper out of the toilet.
Yeah.
That's how you're supposed to know that's actually how you mark your territory. I believe Guatemala.
Yeah. I heard that.
But before today's game in the Mets series, our bullpen was awesome. 13 and a third innings, only 2 earned runs allowed. Today, 5 innings allowed, 4 earned runs. Flush it down the toilet. So honorable mentions for the pitching staff, because we just can't touch on every single person. But these are the guys where if you're making water cooler talk, this is who you mention. So Max Scherzer, really solid start Saturday. Not his best stuff, but had 5 innings, only 1 earned run. Phil Bickford, besides today, has been really good. Brewstar, really good. Had a huge outing today that made it look like the Dodgers might sneak away with a win. Justin Brule was really solid. Corey Knebel started and was really good. And then Kenley has been phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, this extends, I think, to the last game of the Pirates series and this series, but Kenley's 4 for 4 in his last 4 save opportunities. And that's 4 innings of 1 run ball and 5 strikeouts. So and only 3 hits. He's looked more and more like himself as this month goes on. And so I'm wondering if you think he's back. I don't ever know if he was ever gone, if we ever determined he had left, but is he back to his form that we saw early on in the year?
I don't know, because it's like, which form from early on in the year?
Yeah,
because
that's true.
It's no matter what. I mean, Jesus, he had like close to literally a 1.15 ERA in the first half. But then it's like, oh, but what about those few blown saves, like the one in Oakland? And then there's other examples that happened as well. So I don't really know what's up with Kenley. I never know which form he's in which form to say he's back form. Because if you ask some people, they'll say, oh yeah, it was just luck. He didn't have a 1.15 ERA. He was just lucky.
Yeah. And you're right. It is fair to say that what is he back form are we talking about? But, I'm still confident in Kenley. I know a lot of people aren't anymore, but he's still my guy. 1-run lead in the 9th, game 7 of the World Series. I want Kenley on the mound, and I'm ready to take slander for that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, because, and this actually segues perfectly to Treinen. But the thing is with Kenley, I like him there because he could do enough of a job to where he can hold down the closer position. Because is Treinen a better pitcher than Kenley? Yes, no doubt. I mean, anybody who argues that Kenley isn't better than Treinen is just a pea brain, absolute pea brain. But thing is, and that's what I got from, I didn't think about till I read Blake Harris blog recently, but sometimes the most important inning is the 7th and the 8th inning. Yeah. And that's what Treinen provides for us.
Yeah. And can I propose one question that I've thought about when it comes to Kenley, and then we can move on to the rest of the bullpen?
Yeah.
Is Kenley like the box of chocolates in Forrest Gump, where you never know what you're going to get? So is that a benefit to him? Like, cause you know what I mean? Like if you're an opposing hitter and you don't know what kind of Kenley you're going to see, is that kind of like a good thing for us, or is that a bad thing for us?
The thing is, I don't know if he's like the box of chocolates, because you have a good assumption of what you're going to get. He does have you do like, it's so tough, because he does have a 2.86 ERA, but then we also know how unreliable he could be in I don't know. So I guess if there's a scale of 0 to box of chocolates, he's probably in box of chocolates is a 10. He's probably like a 6.5. I think that's where I'd put my answer.
Okay. I was just wondering, because, sometimes we see Kenley with a 96-mile-an-hour cutter that is cutting, and sometimes we see him with a 90-mile-an-hour cutter that doesn't move and just looks like a 4-seamer right down the middle.
I would say result is one thing, but stuff wise, I would definitely say it's a box of chocolates.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. We can move on. I just wanted to run that by you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I got the rundown.
Okay, good.
I was able to translate it, Charles.
Good.
All right. But no, quick back to Treinen, because it is insane the run that he's been on. It sucks that it snapped yesterday when he gave up the home run to Pete Alonso when he just nubbed that out. But it's, oh my God. So since June, before yesterday, the last time he allowed a run was against the Braves on June 5th. A lot has happened since June 5th.
Yeah, that's a staggering stat to hear.
No Taliban. The Taliban didn't even exist before June 5th.
Afghanistan's government was just chilling.
Yeah, no, we were good. We were good. Don't yeah, not a political. Please don't take anything I say with any grain, like with any part of your brain that says maybe I should think about this. No, don't.
We're a
Because
big non-political pod.
well, stupid I'll fall into the category. I will say things on my mind, but they're probably wrong and probably really stupid. But yeah. So, but the craziest stat from during this time span was he inherited 16 runners, 16, two of them scored, only two. That is the definition of reliability.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. I mean, and like we were talking about earlier, the Dodgers of years past have had problems with letting inherited runners in. Like I remember Yimi Garcia used to let them in a lot, and like Adam Liberatore used to let inherited runners in a lot. And it's like now that Treinen's doing what he's doing, and Vesia does a good job with that. It's like it's a nice change of pace.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, with like talking about Treinen, you have to mention his stuff, which makes for awful radio and awful podcasting because you just have to see it. Like Pitching Ninja posted an insane compilation of his slider and like it moves like 3.5 feet. But if there is any way that I could describe his pitches, is he's pulling on strings like Geppetto.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite things that people always say on Dodgers Twitter about Blake Treinen is that if he was pitching back when baseball was first formed, he would have been burnt at the stake for witchcraft.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there has to be some evil spirits roaming.
Yeah, I mean, his slider like is one of the filthier pitches I think I've ever seen.
Ever. And that's not speaking in hyperbolic or really grandiose terms. No, that's true. That is one of the best pitches I have ever witnessed.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes for really shitty podcasting, but just know that there is witchcraft in the air.
Yep.
And then we're going to start to wrap up a lot of our pitching talk with Friday night's game, Electric City.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to?
No, you can go ahead. No. I was just going to say Alex Vesia.
We're going to say that for after because can you kick off Buehler and then I'll touch on Vesia to wrap up pitching talk?
Yeah. I mean, Walker Buehler was Walker Buehler, and like it wasn't Cy Young Walker Buehler per se, but he was still electric and managed to work his way out of jams. And I think he only allowed 2 runs, which, like we said a few podcasts ago, if your bad outings are 7 innings with 2 runs and a few walks, like by all means have all the bad outings you need.
Mm-hmm. That start was very strange. It was a very strange start, but I'll give I'll give my praise. Just one, like the most incredible thing I noticed was Dodgers Twitter posted a compilation of his 8 strikeouts, and kid you not, 7 of the punch out pitches were either touching the electronic box or outside the zone. With that said, though, some of those pitches outside the zone were guys getting caught looking, like Travis Blankenhorn had a really bad one, and these balls were very inside, outside, kind of all over the place. But this was kind of when the heat really turned up in Chavez Ravine because there was a lot of it was very contentious to end Friday night's game. Like that 8th inning was nuts.
Yeah, that was heart racing. Shout out to Vesia for getting that strikeout. But yeah, like you said with Buehler, I mean, he was kind of all over the place, but like we always say, he gets around it. The good pitchers get out of the jams, and he managed to get his ERA to a MLB lowest 2.11. Mm-hmm. So this was a successful start in my eyes. Although it's one of those instances where if Vesia doesn't come in and get that out, mm-hmm. is it still a successful start?
Yeah. It's all, a lot of that's on Vesia. Well, as far as like the biggest part for me was like Buehler turned into a raging bull out there. He had, what was it, like a razor wire wrapped around his testicles. I think that's how they fire the bulls up. But because he was really, really pissed towards the end because they're in the game. Jonathan VR grounded out, but the ump ruled it was a foul ball. They said he fouled it off his foot. There's really no impact, but it really could have snowballed from there. And then in that 8th inning, with runners on, the run that he allowed was Pete Alonso dribbler that was fouled off of his foot. So we have Buehler getting pissed, and then the Mets also aren't getting strike calls, which is why when McNeil got rung up with 1 out on a pitch that was clearly a ball, he was super fucking pissed. He literally tomahawk chopped his bat. So that added more fuel to the fire, because now like it looks like Jeff McNeil was showing up the ump, even though it was a really bad call. But then Buehler's mad at the ump because he didn't get his calls. But then it's like, I don't know how pissed you should be, because you could have easily walked in a run right there. So, or led to something bigger. Like if you walked McNeil, I don't know what the fuck would have happened. So Buehler was so pissed getting off the mound. That was probably the maddest I've ever seen him.
Yeah, he was very upset. But he had reason to be upset.
But then he didn't have reason to be.
But then he didn't.
It was like the there's what was the Office episode where they're all pointing the guns at each other?
It's the one where they play that board game. Yeah,
Dallas?
I can't remember what it's called. They're
Dallas,
all pointing
right?
the guns. No,
Yeah.
it's like a I can't think of what it's called. It's like a Bayou type board game, because his name's like Caleb Crawdad or something.
Yeah. God, I'm all right. Fill the airtime while I'm finding
Okay.
it.
Shout out to Tottenham, 2-0 to start the season.
Okay. Anyways, there's been a murder.
soccer
Everybody
plug in
knows
there.
what I'm talking about. There's been a murder in Savannah. We all know.
Yeah,
We all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But that was what it felt like, because you have like the Mets pointing guns at. It's like everybody's pointing their guns at each other because it's the ump's fault. It's the Mets' fault. It's Dodgers' fault. We're like, it's all combined, like this weird nucleus of just anger, and a very potent type of anger.
Yeah.
So, but now we're setting the scene, because we have Vesia stepping onto the mound and walks the first batter. And we're like, oh shit, is this really where things hit the fan? Legit mojo moment. Dodgers are up 3-2, 2 outs, bases loaded, full count. JD Davis gets caught looking.
Yeah. And I mean, in that situation, when they're caught looking, it's usually closer. And I mean, this was an obvious strike. Like it's usually more borderline or more of a ball, but this was like he painted the bottom half of the zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, it was like insert the KD James Harden mom made pizza rolls meme.
Yeah, definitely.
That's how he looked getting off the mound. He was pumped because he does have a lot to prove, because he's gone from, we traded Dylan Floro for this guy. Like at one point when he got sent down to the minors on June 2nd, he had a 5.91 ERA. But in 15 appearances since July 9th, when he got called up, he's only allowed a run.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a great turnaround for him. He went from a guy that I didn't want to see on the team ever again to I kind of want him on the mound in high leverage situations, because, yeah, he was super juiced. And the funniest part was he had to go do a substance check, like right after, and he had to kind of tone himself down. It was so funny.
It was the Hulk returning to human form.
Yeah.
I love that switch though.
Oh yeah, he flipped it immediately. I was impressed.
I don't know how guys do that. If I was like, especially with the crowd cheering as well. I mean, it's not like he did it in PNC Park where people come to do something for 3 hours and they forget there's a baseball game. No, like I would just be screaming my head off for like 3 hours straight. I want to be able to get over that.
Oh yeah, that's got to be such an awesome feeling.
It's like you can't come down off of heroin that quickly, but I feel like that just feels better than heroin.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's a fucking drug.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's like what I had for the past series. Did you want to touch on the offense at all before we wrap it up?
Yeah, just a couple of tidbits. Obviously, this doesn't include today, but over the 9-game win streak, they averaged 5.3 runs per game. So nothing earth shattering, but that's still a good amount. They also outscored their opponents 21-1 in the first third of the games. Shout out to your blog for that stat. Oh, yeah. And then I believe this is a true stat, but I saw something where they went like, they were like 10-0 in the first innings over these 9 games. So they were holding runners to no runs and scoring 10 of their own over this 9-game win streak, which was pretty awesome. It was a very good stretch. It wasn't a stretch of like 10 runs here and 10 runs there and 8 runs there and 7 runs there. It was a lot of grinded out wins, with a 14-piece here and a 9-piece here.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think the biggest part of this is that we scored enough runs to put us at 19 and 21 in 1-run games.
Yeah, that's huge. I think it was like 7 of the 9 wins were by 1 run.
Mm-hmm. You don't got to score a lot. You just got to score enough.
Yep. Just got to score more than the other guy.
Yeah, let's say like call back to stupid cliches. Well, now I have blood on my hands in the cliches department. Yeah, I mean the biggest thing that I have still is Trea Turner is so fucking fast. You know how I realized that, like, how fast he is. He makes other guys, like, especially there was a play Saturday's game where I believe it was Brandon Nemo was throwing a ball in. He tagged up on a fly ball on second base. Brandon Nemo looks like he has a wet noodle as an arm. Like, he just makes big league players look like they've never thrown a baseball in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Or they've never seen a squat rack or never benched before.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. I remember that play.
Mm-hmm. Yes. All right. So are we good to wrap up?
Yeah. One last thing. Dodgers City Connect jerseys were awesome.
Yeah.
What? No, stop. That all blue look was incredible. The hats I can do without, but the jerseys I really liked.
But I thought, the hats were way too busy. I don't
there's
like
too
that
much
many
going
letters.
on.
I just need letters. I just need a logo. But then I don't like. I think they were. I think they should have fully committed. They went Los Dodgers. You got to go Los Doyers. I thought that was a little strange.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool, but there might have been some backlash from that. Let's be honest.
But our majority of our fan base is Mexican.
I know, but you're always going to get the cancel culture people to come out of hiding.
You can't cancel my. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, how are we going to
also Dodgers release those white hoodies online, please? I keep bringing it up on Twitter. Release those white hoodies online.
Yeah. I'm going to finish that thought. Why do we have to cancel over something that appeals to the majority of our fan base who happens to be Mexican? Like, as a white person, I allow it. I shall not do the canceling. Speaking on behalf of the white community of Dodger fans, it's okay. We got this. I'm okay with this. I like to celebrate other cultures. Let's do it.
All right.
Los
yeah, good. You speak for all of us when you say that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Los Doyers are back.
Yep.
Very cool. But yeah, shout out Mark Pryor who did the cutoff with the white hoodie. That was sick.
Yeah, man, I need that white hoodie. Like, I love a good hoodie. I need that white hoodie.
Mm-hmm. I like the idea of the hoodie, but I'm gonna get a blue one because I know I'm gonna get a stain on it within 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the stain over under like 1.5 days of wearing it before I get a stain.
Minutes
under
minutes. Meals. I'm just gonna put in like 1.5 meals. I'm taking the under.
Me too.
Yeah. All right. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 18. If you would like to follow myself on social media, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at MattWeiner20. That is MattWeiner20. If you'd like to follow Edward on his Instagram and Twitter, find him at Edward_Vento. And who gives a fuck about what we have to say about everything in the world? Just follow OK Takes. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at OKAY Takes Pod. That is OKAY Takes Pod. Takes 2 seconds. Would appreciate it so much. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and have a wonderful day.